So guys, I've just watched the very last conference, which is the Square Enix one, and, well, they did good. I'm not going to lie, they did very, very, very good. They opened up with Just Cause 3, and they've said it's going to have longer and stronger support this time round. The gameplay they showed looked really, really action-packed. It looked a lot of fun. It's a massive open-world sandbox full of action and destruction. They've introduced a wingsuit. You can't go wrong with a wingsuit, let's be honest, to add more aerial attacks into the game. It's a 400 square mile sandbox. That's massive. That's going to be incredible. They've upgraded all the current weapons that you had in the previous game, so the grapple hooks have been upgraded. There's a great scene in it actually, where he hooks the grapple onto a gas canister then to an enemy and sends the enemy up in the air, and that just looks so much fun. It just looks one of these games where you sit and play and you go, this is ace, and you lose hours on it, and not because it's really in depth, it's just that it's action packed. It's due out on December the 1st of this year, so it's not too long to wait. It's going to be a good Christmas release, to be honest with you, and it's on all next gen consoles, so it's going to be amazing. It's got improved mechanics from the previous one, from what they've said and what they've shown. And the whole purpose of the game is you're trying to overthrow a dictator that is hell-bent on world domination. So it's your typical action game, and it just looked beautiful. Graphically, it looked absolutely wonderful, if I'm honest. I, for one, I've dabbled in the Just Cause games. I haven't really played through all of them yet, but I will do, just to get ready for this, realistically. They then give us a sneak peek of the new Nier game. They're not even giving the subtitle for it, it's just a sneak peek. It looked fantastic, the artwork was brilliant. They're going to give us more info in the autumn of this year, and I must admit I'm really, really looking forward to that. There was a mention that it was a PS4 exclusive. Whether that's true or not, it could just be first on PS4 timed release game. But it looked wonderful, and I must admit that's got my interest really peaked in that game. And the limited bits they showed you, it looked wonderful, and I can't wait to hear more about it, if I'm honest. It's really got me wanting more. They then re-showed the Rise of the Tomb Raider trailer, which still looks wonderful. It still looks great. They showed a bit more in-depth footage, and they showed behind the scenes. And they've took their time with this one. They've put some right good details into it. I mean, the scars from the last game are carrying over. There's environmental things that happen to Lara, so if she's in the snow, then there'll be snow resting on her shoulder, and it will get thicker and thicker. They've really gone down to the minute details to make this the most realistic looking game out there, and it's so detailed, it's incredible. They're bringing the tombs back as well, which is what I'm really happy with. Like the last one, the tombs were almost optional. You had like hidden tombs which you could go and do, whereas this time apparently they're bringing the tombs back. It's basically the one we played previously was her introduction of how she became who she became, and this one is her now going on her typical adventures, and we get to see her in her what would be classed as her Lara attire, which is fantastic. I'm really excited to see that. That's coming out again in November this year, so I really, really can't wait to see that. And to go coincide with that, there's Lara Croft Go on tablets and phones, which looks interesting. So they said it's turn-based and it's cel-shaded. It looked pretty good actually. I'm not a big fan of mobile and tablet games, but that might be something I'll give a go, because I am a big Tomb Raider fan. I'd be interested to see more info on that, to be honest with you, because it looked interesting. It looked pretty good. How it works and the purpose of it is another thing, but we will see. And I must admit I'm quite excited to see a bit more information on the two Tomb Raider games, especially the release. It's going to be an Xbox exclusive, but it's coming on the 360, so I will be picking it up on there probably rather than forking out. I don't know yet, we'll see. They showed the Final Fantasy Remake trailer. I am one happy man. And they've also said that there's more information to come this winter, and I can't wait for that. I really can't. Final Fantasy VII's also coming to iOS. Again, not a big fan of mobile markets, but that might be worth getting, if I'm honest. And they're also bringing, as was always promised, the PC version to the PS4, and that's hopefully going to be winter this year, with Final Fantasy VII on the iOS coming summer of this year. But we live in hope. But I mean, the big one is the remake. The Final Fantasy VII remake is the massive one for me. This is it. It's just, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it again. I mean, I completely lost my crap at the Sony announcement of it, and they showed it again today, and I got goosebumps. And it's fantastic. It's my favourite game of all time, and to have a HD remake, it's something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. And I said it last time, I just want them to do it right. I don't want them to screw it up. I want it to be exactly how it was, but just expanded on. I want turn-based combat. I don't want real-time combat. I want turn-based combat. I want the story to be on the same sort of lines. Yeah, they can tweak the battle system to a degree, and they can tweak the levels to a degree, but I just want it to be primarily Final Fantasy VII, just better. That's what I want, and I cannot wait to see what information they're going to release in winter this year. They then showed Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, which is coming onto iPhone and Android. They didn't really give a lot of information out on this, but it did look pretty good. How it plays and how it plays like it, that's a completely different kettle of fish, but it did look pretty good, and it linked them on straight away to Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I haven't got much experience in the Kingdom Hearts world. In fact, I've got zero experience. I've heard from everyone. I kind of missed it on that PS2 when it first came out, and having only recently got the PS2 back, and I didn't get a PS3 last time round, so I didn't get the HD remakes. It's still yet to be, but this looked wonderful. It's a brand new world. It's really bright. It's still in development, and they're going to give us more info. But it looked fantastic. And obviously it's in partnership with Disney. So I've yet to come across a bad Disney game, except Disney Infinity. We won't mention that though. But like a standalone game where you haven't got to buy stupid figures, I've not come across a bad Disney game. So excited to see that, and definitely not, because I do collect retro games. Definitely going to check out Kingdom Hearts before that comes out. Fantastic. The whole conference that they've just done has been fantastic. They did a little bit more on the world of Final Fantasy as well. We saw a little bit at the Sony conference yesterday, and the whole idea about it is to bring families together to play, so children and adults play the series and get to enjoy the series and bring new players into it. So they've got a new battle system, and they're trying to make it a simple yet a game that's deep to play, and it's bringing a whole new experience. So children, like I said, children and adults will enjoy it. I'm still not sure on it, to be honest with you. It looks a bit too childlike for my liking for a Final Fantasy world now. Don't get me wrong, I understand where they're going with it to introduce new players to the world of Final Fantasy who haven't yet played Final Fantasy, but for me, I'm not sure. I'm going to wait for more information. I'm not going to wholeheartedly go out there and say it's not for me. I'm going to wait to see what information they give. They have said they're not going to say what type of game it is yet, and just to be patient with them. And I think that's fair enough. There's going to be a new battle system in it, so I'm going to just wait and see. I am a Final Fantasy fan, so the fanboy in me says this give them the time to sort out what they've got to do and do an announcement as and when they see fit. It would come out that Hitman's coming out on December the 8th. This looks fantastic. I must admit, when I saw this again yesterday, it looked fantastic, and they've given us a bit more info on it. There's going to be new locations. There's going to be hits released at timed intervals. some of the targets are going to be only there for a limited time, and they're only going to be there once. So if you mess it up and they escape, you'll never see them again. How you die, how you kill them is how they die. You can team up with other players, by the sounds of it, from around the world to make sure these hits go ahead. If you miss it, you won't see those people again ever, because they will either escape and be gone forever, or they will die at the hands of other players. From what I can get, that was my take on where they were going with this. It's going to be a large sandbox game, which is fantastic, and it gives you the freedom of approach. If you want to do the perfect assassination through poison, you can go ahead and do that, and stealthily so no one knows it's you. If you want to rock in with a machine gun, you can do that. It's entirely up to you how you take out these hits. That's what I like, because you can... I'm one of these gamers that will play it both ways, and there'll be certain times when I'll sit there and I'll go, right, I'm going to do this how it's supposed to be done, in hide behind boxes and get the disguises that I need to get, and spend an hour or two doing one hit. But then sometimes I'll just pick it up and just think, give me that machine gun, I'm going in after him. And this looks like it's going to cater to all of my needs for that game. It looks, graphically, it looks phenomenal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that being released in December. They showed the new Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithfulness. Again, they mentioned PS4 again. Whether it's an exclusive or it's going to be first on PS4, that's yet to be seen. But it looks absolutely beautiful. It's a JRPG, and there's more characters can fight this time at the same time. Again, it was very cagey on the information they gave, but they showed some gameplay footage of it, and it looked fantastic. And I must admit, I am looking forward to any more info they will give me on that, and as soon as they possibly can, would be great, because I'll link the gameplay down below. You just check it out, because you won't be disappointed. It looks wonderful, and I cannot wait to see more. Simple as. The new Deus Ex is coming out, Mankind Divided, and it takes place 2 years after the Human Revolution instalment of the game. So it's a direct sequel, but the world's changed this time, and when you're a double agent working for another agency, and your actions that you take in the game affect how the game and the story effectively ends. Now, I like this in games. I like this in Mass Effect. I thought it was wonderful that you had the choice of who you killed off and who you didn't kill off. This brings gaming, to me, this is what gaming should be nowadays. It shouldn't be A to B. It should be your game, you play it your way. It's got new weapons and augmentations, which is always brilliant. I mean, anything that they can expand on. The Deus Ex games I thoroughly enjoyed. I really did like Human Revolution, even though I felt personally it was short. It does look really, really, really good. They announced another thing called Final Fantasy Portal, and it's an app. But that's all they said about it. I'm pretty sure it's going to... Well, I'm hoping it's going to be somewhere where you can store your Final Fantasy information and saves, so you can sort of compare with the rest of the world. But I'm probably completely bloody wrong there, and it's probably some kind of game to play on your mobile. But again, it was sort of just splashed upon the screen and left. But other than that, the next one they did, then it was another cagey release. They've basically created a new studio called Tokyo RPG Factory, and obviously they're going to be just solely responsible for JRPGs. And Project Setsons is their first game. They showed a little bit of gameplay on it, a few arty sort of stills, and it looked lovely. It was watercolory and pastel-y, but also at the same time, it just looked wonderful. And they said there's going to be more information as soon as they've got it, and it's hoping to be out next year. But they just basically gave us a world exclusive sneak peek, which I thought was fantastic. And I can't wait for more information off of Square Enix for that. That was how they ended their presentation. There was hints throughout the presentation of Triad Wars, Final Fantasy 15, there was a couple of others, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, and amongst others. They were just sort of splashed in between things, and there was no information given on them. However, it did sort of hint at what they've got for the future. All in all, I thought it was a fantastic presentation. the games they've announced are fantastic. Like, I don't need to mention Final Fantasy VII again, and Deus Ex looks brilliant. Kingdom Hearts looks brilliant. Just Cause 3 looks fantastic, and it's definitely a game I want to be checking out. So that's the end of the conferences, guys. I'm going to do a sum up video, giving you my final thoughts on what I thought of the E3 conferences this year. These videos have been really well received, actually. Some really good views on them, and I've enjoyed doing them. I've enjoyed putting my opinions and points out there. So I just want to thank you all, and to the new subscribers, thank you for joining me in my world of E3 2015. So until next time, guys, take care.